In life spanning, there is no plan B. I'm Jean Fallacara, and my guests are coming to this podcast for a reason. There's no rules, no BS, just pure biohacking. I don't want to know what you have to sell. I want to know who you are. Welcome to the No Plan B podcast. I'm Jean Fallacara, and today I'm super happy to receive in this podcast someone that came to my podcast at the early stage of it, like 3 years ago when we were going live on Instagram. Dr. Gil Blender, the CEO and founder of Untitled Chapter. So thank you, Gil. I'm so happy to have you back on this podcast. It's been years. And we did some talk on live Instagram to start, and I've seen Untitled Chapter booming and booming. Welcome to the No Plan B podcast, Gil.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to join you again.
Yeah, so the pleasure is all mine, and I want to brief you on what is happening with Untitled Chapter, of course, what is happening with you. You've been in this mission for a few years. I think it's 14 or 15 years when you started this project.
Yeah,
and
almost 15.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, you were among the first to start measuring biomarkers and epigenetics and all these markers in general. So now there is more competition, of course, but you're still leading the game, I guess. Like you're in front of everyone. You're like the leader one that everyone choose before going to others. What's your secret?
I think that it's being determined and starting and continuing to push forward. As you said, we are doing it for 15 years and we are planning to continue to do it for the foreseeable future. And I think that it's sticking to the science. I'm a scientist, so we're sticking to the science and trying only provide a science-based recommendation. Sometimes it's the hard way. It's not the easy way. We don't have a silver bullet. And I think that we showed in the past a very good result. We published a peer-reviewed paper in 2018 showing a good result of Untitled Chapter users from baseline to follow-up. Now we have more than 100,000 users, and we have very good data that we are working on packaging into a peer-reviewed scientific publication that's showing that the improvement in blood biomarkers and in our biological age is statistically and medically significant, but also is staying over time. So it's not only that, you improve your LDL cholesterol and then in the next test you haven't. We see that in our population, you see it after 4, 5, and 6 tests that you still maintain your improvement of the blood biomarker. And again, it's a part of the health span. We are trying to help you to live better longer. So it's not a one hit and that's it. It's a lifetime journey. And I think that we have data to show that it's working to anyone that is willing to spend his time, money, and effort on that. You can see a good result. So it's very encouraging for everyone.
Yeah. Are you using artificial intelligence in the result compilation and statistics and probabilities and things like that? Or you go straight to the algorithm that was created in the past?
Yeah, so we are improving our recommendation engine all the time. Part of it is a more expert system. Part of it is machine learning AI. We are now adding, hopefully in a month or two, LLM, GPT-like engine, specifically to provide to the user, to our users, some instant answer to the question. So the user can ask a question and the large language model running on our database. And our database is very clean. We have more than 1,000 blogs. We have a lot of podcast interview with the leader on the aging domain. I think that we interview more than 55 interviews.
On your podcast that I remember when you started it. Yes. Yeah.
So we have people like David Sinclair and Nir Barzilai and Like today, we'll release an episode that we call it Ask Me Anything, and we focus on oral health. And
Nice.
it's something that people don't look at it seriously, but the oral health is very important as well. So we have that, and we have our internal documents. So it's a very clean database with a lot of science-backed data. And then the user can ask the question and trust the answer from the AI engine
And get,
developed. So we are deploying a lot of different solutions depending on the question, and providing to the user a very clean and scientific and something that they can trust and follow. And that's why I think that we see a good result, because the baseline, the input is very clean, and then the output is
that's
clean.
the thing. Yeah, no bullshit. I do remember like a few years ago, it was doctors giving advices when you need it, or you can get standard advices. But at that time we spoke, no AI was in place. So of course it has changed, improved. And I agree with you, science is what should be the root and the baseline of everything we do in life optimization. There is no shortcut. We see so many people, influencers and pseudo gurus on social media preaching tricks and stuff and tips to improve lives of people. And at the end of the day, they're just counterintuitive or counterproductive. And they go against the real goal we all have, making life not just like longer, but better. It's not only just extending life; it's just like making it livable up to the end, if ends exist. Because now we're coming really close to the velocity escape in longevity, and so things may change. I want to go back to what you said about hygiene in mouse, because in few weeks, I think that I'm getting on the podcast Dr. Dominic, the specialist in dentistry, that is doing a great job, I believe, on that part as well. So are you taking markers, new biomarkers or blood markers that are specific to dentistry as well, or is just like part of everything in the gut and in the blood flow?
Yeah. No, it's a good question. So it's part of my curiosity about longevity, and it's a part that somehow nobody is talking about. So I have a very bad genetics about dental health. I literally had any operation that you want to have in the dental. I wanted to understand, okay, what can I do about it? So I started to research, and I found, I was amazed that there is a strong correlation between the number of teeth that you have and your longevity. There is a correlation about oral health and longevity, correlation about the versatility of your oral microbiome and longevity, and so on. So I said, okay, let's communicate. Let's start by communicating this data to our listener, and that's what we actually did today. And we are looking into that. We don't have yet a testing that we can recommend that will help you with that, other than go to the dentist and do the cleaning.
Cleaning and
some intervention. Like I can tell you what I have done. I researched.
Stay away from washing alcohol-based substances and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. But even a simple thing like brushing your teeth. So there are now some a toothbrush that are connected. They have an app and connected to your phone. And basically, it can give you a guide on the time when to brush well, and are you brushing too hard or too easy, and how long to brush in each area, and when to replace the head of the brush. So there is a lot of progress there, and I literally doing it. I've done it since I recorded the episode like a couple of months ago, and I went to my hygienist at the dentist.
He showed, yeah,
and she told me, yeah, your teeth are looking much better, because now I know, and I'm not brushing too hard and not too easy, and so I think that there are simple interventions like that the oral health is so behind that even you don't need to have it very personal. Even so that the toothbrush that it's connected to your smartphone and
Right.
it is personalized in a way.
Yeah.
It's giving you a lot of value, and it also can save you a lot of money right now. If you brush better, you'll have less cavities and you spend less money, but also
Money at the doctor.
and so on.
But I have a question then. You know what? I'm afraid with all these things and gadgets that we have that are monitoring everything we do in every places, we're getting more and more people addicted to these tools. Aren't you afraid about people getting addicted? Like, I always take this example. You never had any wearable on you and you buy a Fitbit.
Yeah.
First thing you do, you look at your Fitbit every 10 minutes.
When you wake up in the morning, yeah. Yeah, but I think that if you look at that, let me give you an example, okay? We have Taylor Swift with all the Swifties, okay? So I spoke about it with my wife yesterday when we drove back from the gym. And I said, it's so nice that she has so many followers. Why? She's a nice lady. She's not drinking. She's not taking drugs. At least she's not saying that she's doing that.
Yeah.
So it's better that those millions of young girls following her, following, I know, someone that taking drug and drinking a lot of alcohol. So it's the same here. I love to be addicted to the gym and going to the gym every.
That's a good answer.
And brush my teeth for 2 minutes instead of 1.5 minutes. Instead of like that, lying on the couch and watching Netflix for an hour.
Yeah. I like that.
It is a positive addiction. It's better.
Yeah.
All of us are addicted to something.
Of course.
I prefer to be addicted to exercise and brushing my teeth.
That's it.
I don't know, and eating healthy than to be addicted to alcohol.
I love it. That's the first time that someone answered my question that way. And kudos. In French, we would say chapeau, because you are so right. It's good to be addicted to these things, and especially exercise and walking or even going outside. I love it. That's a great answer. Now, you triggered another question in my mind when you were talking about the number of teeth in your mouth that can predict longevity. Here's the thing, and I'm blunt in the question. I didn't prepare it or whatsoever. It just popped up on my mind. If I look at the law of the evolution of the species and everything that is behind Darwin there, we used to have way more teeth before than we have now, and we're supposed to even have less and less tooth, but we're supposed to live longer. How does that work?
Yeah, I think that if you look at evolution, the evolutionary pressure is until the age of basically reproductive age. So basically, we have a pressure, and you can see it with women more broadly, that women are almost immune from diseases until the menopause, and then they are starting to decline and have more and more.
One after the other, yeah.
No, so basically, the evolutionary pressure is for us to have an offspring, and then after that, the evolutionary pressure is less and less. We are somehow succeed to, let's say that our reproductive age is until 40, let's say at high level. The average lifespan, at least in the US, is around 79.
Yeah,
so
80.
That half of our life, we are extended it without any evolutionary pressure, because I can die tomorrow. My kids are already almost adult, and they will survive without me.
Yeah.
So I think that there is less evolutionary pressure for us to have our teeth or our liver or our brain operated well after the age of reproduction. And because of that, we need to try to maintain it and try to find a way to extend it, even so that there is not evolutionary pressure. If you look at the average lifespan of human in the end of the 19th century, meaning in 1900 and
that's what, 25 years? Yeah. 1800, it was even 40 years.
It was below 40. Think about it. I wouldn't be alive at that time. As of today. And
you're not 40? You're not 39?
No, unfortunately. So I'm saying it's amazing if we look at that now our lifespan is double from what it been at that time, and it's roughly 100 years from there. And it's a lot about antibiotic and hygiene,
health, being less ill,
and all the healthcare system that become much better. But I think that we go to in a way of a plateau. And that's, if we're thinking about it, it's looking at our current healthcare system is more reactive than proactive.
That's the problem we have today. Yeah. We are reactive, not preventative. Yeah.
Exactly. So you come to your, me or you, let's assume that we are healthy, coming to our physician, you look at us, measure blood pressure, I don't know, run a few biochemical tests and say, hey, you are normal. Go home, come back in a year or two.
Then you have a cancer phase 1 or phase 2 and you don't see it.
Exactly. I can give you an example of colorectal cancer screening. Or
for men, it's so important. Yeah.
But as we said, there is a lot of prevention to do. So cancer screening is one of them. Looking at the same biomarker that they are looking at, but not only looking whether you are normal or not, but also whether you are optimal or not. So that's something that we are doing at Instant Tracker. We are basically looking at your, let's say, LDL cholesterol and telling you, yeah, you are normal, but if you have it 10 units below, you will be optimal, meaning that you have a better chance not to have cardiovascular diseases in another 10 years.
So you can improve your own algorithm in a way. But are the tests, I don't know if it's the case or not, question, but like if you're 40 or you're 60, biomarkers to target are probably not the same, I guess, because like you said before, after 40, we start to decline on many aspects for some. But are you taking different approach for different type of age bracket and ranges, or it's the same test and then the interpretation varies according to the age of the person?
So there are for each person we provide a personal range based on his age and gender and ethnicity and athletic activity and the amount of alcohol that he drink and so on. So you receive your own optimal range. And then the intervention, again, is based on science. So I can give you an example. Let's take vitamin B12. People above the age of 50 tend to absorb much less vitamin B12 from food than people that below 50. And it's because the acidity of your guts and so on. So we, based on that, we provide to such a population different recommendation than someone that is below 50, for example. And we have thousands of different recommendations. So for each person, we are assigning the best recommendation for him or her based on their age, gender, ethnicity, athletic activity. All is based on a peer-reviewed scientific publication or a data that we accumulated, again, because we have more than 100,000 users already. So we can see what is working for someone like you, and then we can provide the recommendation that works for someone.
So here's my question for you. You provide recommendation based on the age and the gender and the type of lifestyle. We all know that epigenetics is impacted by environment and mainly by the oxidative stress you have in your body, the general inflammation, let's call it like that. Let's pretend I am 28 years old, biological age, but I'm 50-something, physical, calendar age. Are your recommendation based on my biological age or on my calendar age?
So the recommendations are based on where the biomarker are standing. So we have, when we extract the data from the literature, we know, for example, let me take another example. Let's assume that your glucose is 100, or 105, which is considered to be pre-diabetic, or 125, which is considered to be diabetic, or below 100, which is considered to be normal. We have a different intervention that we know that working for that. For example, resveratrol, which is a polyphenol that
David Sinclair talks about it.
Talking a lot, but it's considered to be activator of SIR2, but it's also considered to be a polyphenol that helping with glucose, for example. We have data that show that it's working well for people that are pre-diabetic or diabetic, but not for people that have considered a normal level.
Right.
So we provide you a recommendation based on that, more based on where you're standing and less about your age, but sometimes we also include the age. So it's all based on the data that we extracted from the
publication. Yeah, okay, yeah. I understand. And it's good that it's on peer-reviewed and not like empirical stuff like we see most of the time. I want to stick for 2 minutes on the biological age, because I know that it's a great importance for you and for Inside Tracker. Recently, I think you spoke about that, or you published something that passed into my radar about biological age and what is the best test or what is accurate to measure biological age. Can you explain a bit more about what is biological age? How do you measure it? And because today we see so many kits to measure that out there. Are they all valid or some are more? Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. I agree with you. And by the way, I just was a part of a webinar that discussed the epigenetic age. Epigenetic age is now really in fashion. And basically, what does it mean? Is looking at the methylation of your DNA in a different site, and based on that, you can have a correlation to age, and they can look at it and come and tell you what is your biological age based on the amount of methylation. It's considered to be very accurate.
Yeah, it's been out there. Yeah,
it's out there, and there are some companies that selling it, and it's very accurate. The issue is that, and by the way, today in this webinar, a person, a scientist named Steve Horvath, which is considered to be the father of the epigenetic age, he actually developed it, spoke about it, and I had some discussion with him, and he by himself said that it's not responsive to intervention yet. So the epigenetic age that they develop is not responsive. What does it mean? You will have an epigenetic age. Let's assume that you will do caloric restriction for a year and test it again. You won't see the effect of the caloric restriction. It doesn't
fluctuate.
The algorithm that they develop is not responding to that. Or let's assume that you started to exercise. Okay, you have been a couch potato. You started to exercise for 6 months or a year. Tested again, you won't see the effect. So I think that the epigenetic age is very exciting, very accurate. There is no the responsiveness for the intervention. So that's one drawback today of the epigenetic age. I'm sure that they will find a solution. It's amazing and is a good friend, and I'm sure that he or someone else will find it. The second drawback that I also discussed with Steve is you measure the epigenetic age from a blood sample. And let's assume that you are sick. Let's assume that you had COVID, okay? And you tested for epigenetic age before you have been sick, and let's say a few days after you have been sick. The epigenetic age will increase significantly after you have been sick, and the reason for that is that the blood cells that you have in your blood are the white blood cells. The composition of them change significantly. On some of them, their age is a bit much older than other, so artificially, it will tell you you are 20 years older. Actually, if you will test again 2 weeks later, you will be in the
You're
same
down again. Yeah, of course, because of the overall inflammation that created by the being sick. Yeah, makes sense.
So basically, something like that is a bit concerning, because how can you trust it if it's telling you?
And when you do it. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I was 20. Now I'm 40. Next week, I will be 20 again. So that's another drawback that you have with epigenetic age. So that's one of them. It's interesting. I think that it's accurate, but there are a couple of drawbacks that I described before. Yeah. Then you have a few other ways to do that. There is something called glycan age.
Glycan age, we're on the glycans, the sugar molecule. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's another one that is interesting. There is something that
very interesting. Very stable, actually. I've tested it. And it seems to be, even if you exercise a lot or less, or if you go outside or rainy days for a week or two, it doesn't vary the same way as epigenetic testing.
It's a bit more stable, And then you have the telomere lengths.
That's the old-fashioned way of doing it.
Old-fashioned. And what we are using at Inside Tracker, which in my opinion is the best solution as of today, is basically blood biomarker based. And the reason for that is that the blood biomarkers are basically liquid gold. That's what our clinicians using in the last century or so. There are so much data in the literature. So basically, we combine the blood biomarkers together and provide to you your age. What is nice about it, that then we know, you are older because of your glucose or LDL, and then we can provide you a recommendation. What should you do about it? And then you see the effect. So I think that as of today, the blood biomarker based
is the most accurate one.
The most accurate and the most responsive for intervention. And by the way, I think that almost everyone that I spoke with from the scientific community agree with me. I think that there is a lot of future for the epigenetic age, but it's not there yet for end consumer. So I wouldn't recommend consumer to do epigenetic age yet. But if you want to do biological age, go and do a blood-based biomarker like what we do. You don't have to come to Insight Tracker. There are other companies that do it.
Yeah. Okay, because in the process of Insight Tracker, it's still the same process. You send a nurse, take a blood draw, samples, send it to the lab. The lab analyzes the results, and you then from the app you get all the recommendation and everything. That didn't change since I was part of the of Insight Tracker at that time.
Yeah, we added a few other ways. So you can go to the lab. You can go to Quest Diagnostic in the US if you want. You can upload your own result if you have data.
Oh, as well. Okay.
So you can upload that, and that's actually available worldwide. So you don't need to be in the US. You can do it from Singapore if you want. And you can also use their own kit. So we have a few different ways for you to acquire the data. And then when you have the data, you can run the biological age and see how old you are comparing to your chronology.
Pretty cool. Yeah. And you can keep track on that if you do it like on a quarter base, for example. Yeah, absolutely. Question for you, jumping into biohacking a bit more. Because Insight Tracker has always been in the mind of the biohackers in general. What's your perception on the biohacking industry these days with like, Brian Johnson and what he's doing? What's your take on that? What do you think about the overall perception that people have on biohacking now?
Yeah, I think that I always thought that biohackers are the head of the curve. They are the leaders. They are basically paving the road for the rest of the world. So generally, I like it. I think that it's good that people are going and trying to move the wall as much as they can. Specifically about what Brian Johnson is doing, I think that for him it's working. I think that it's he spent, $2 million and he's consuming 200 supplements a day, and he exercises like 50 hours a day, eating like 20.
Doing a lot.
200 calories a day. So it's working for him. That's great. But I don't think that it's a solution for everyone. It's a very tough, very expensive, very hard lifestyle.
And you are an expert on that. You know that some supplement works for some people, or some type of diet or exercise work for some, but not for everybody.
So I think that high level, I like what biohackers are doing. It's good for them. It's good to society. But I think that it's the head of the sphere, meaning it's 1,000 of 1% of the population. We need to learn from them and see what can we reuse for the majority of the population.
Because like you said at the beginning, it's so overwhelming. And my feeling about, I've been a biohacker for decades, among the first to be biohackers. And I feel that today we have created a huge gap between what biohackers do and the population that wants to live longer. And we need to do something to make information available, to make what has been done in the past available to everyone. Because when you talk to someone in the street and you ask him or her, would you like to live longer? If they're over 60, definitely they're going to tell you, I need to live longer because my life was too short. But what can I do? What do I do? Where do I start? And if they look at biohacking, they run away the opposite way. So that's the problem we have today, I guess. Yeah,
it's too complex and too time consuming for the average person. And also a lot of the thing that biohackers are doing, which is okay, is something that is not scientific proof. So you have a lot of a lot of them taking drugs that haven't been approved, or doing some lifestyle intervention that are not approved. So I think that they are taking a lot of risk that I'm not sure that it's everyone should take that risk. So I think that that's what we are trying to do in a way, to allow a person to receive an intervention or select an intervention that is more scientific valid and less risky.
And custom made for the person. Like,
and more chance that it will work for you. Because I don't like, even let's talk about the drug that people are taking that might work, like metformin or rapamycin, okay? a lot of biohackers are taking them. I'm not taking them because I haven't seen that they have been approved or showed an effect on longevity. Some people are saying that they are, but I haven't seen it and I haven't been convinced. So I think that it's a risk that you might win in this risk and
or not, or lose, because when we look at those two molecules that you just said, then we look at where they were prescribed first. One was to shut down the immune system for people that were getting implants, and you're taking that for longevity. I don't know. I'm like you, Bill, on that. Not for me either. NMN would be one. NAD. What do you think? I think you spoke also about NMN recently.
Yeah. I have an episode. I interviewed a professor from University of Pennsylvania. That's what he's doing. Actually, he used to be a postdoc at David Sinclair Lab.
Okay.
And so he spoke about that, and he see an interesting result in the model organism, like in mice. But there is not a strong data yet about NMN and NR in human. So again, it's a matter, if you ask me, I wouldn't take it. But
okay.
Yeah, I'm not taking that because I'm not convinced yet. But some other people are convinced.
I do.
And I've seen also some negative side effect of those supplements. So what I'm saying, it's all about how much risk you are willing to take. Willing to take a bigger risk. Some other people are willing to take less risk. I'm very careful with my longevity. So right now, if you ask me what I'm doing, I'm trying to do as much as I can that is more lifestyle and nutrition.
I love it. Keep going. I love it. When we were talking before starting this show, and I was telling you, I started Lifespanning Company for a reason, because I'm convinced of what you just said. I'm convinced that you can live longer, better, just by using natural elements. The sun, walk, like people taking pills to lower the blood glucose. Take a walk. It's going to be better than taking a pill. And if you go the natural way, you can improve your life way better than taking all this supplement and all these things. Some supplements are still required, I guess.
No, absolutely. I'm not against supplement. I'm not against drugs. But there are a lot of things, as you said, that you can take care of via a lifestyle and nutrition and exercise. And there is more and more data, for example, that exercise is more and more important, specifically strength exercise and building your muscle, especially when you are getting older. We are losing 1-2% muscle tone every year. And most of us losing it because we are not exercising enough. And also because when you are getting older, your body is less efficient in building muscle. So you need to invest more in that, do some endurance exercise to improve your VO2 max. So there are a lot of things that you can do that are not a pill.
And I think not chemicals.
Let's start with the basic. Let's do those.
Let's do those, and then maybe we can do something else. Do you think that we're going to live up to 150 like our biology is designed for?
So again, if you look at the data that we have, there is one lady, actually a French lady, that lived to 122.
Oh yeah, Jeanne Calment.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the longest that we have.
Yeah.
But if you look at more like, let's say, not one example, we have enough people that live to 115. So what we assume right now that let's say the maximum lifespan as of today is 115, and you can see also that it's very hard for us to see people. It's not like 20 years ago, 50 years ago, people reached to 80 maximum lifespan, and now to 115. It was also then the maximum was around 115. So it sounds like that we are very close to the limit of the maximum lifespan. But if you look at basically the average lifespan, it's only in the US 79 or 78, meaning that we still have from 78 to 115, we have a lot of years that we can push it. And we can also work on our health span. So it's not only the age that we died, it's also the age that we are starting to stop perform in a way that we like. So
I agree. The lifestyle.
Riding your bike, going to the gym and lifting weights.
Yeah, being able to walk, to talk, to socialize, because the pharma industry helped us to live longer and to average 80, let's say. But in what state? Most of the time that are people that have 80 or 90 years old, that they pass that average time, they're 90, they're not very, very efficient in life anymore. So it is true that we need to extend the health span as the lifespan, and they go together.
I can provide you an example. My father is 92 and my mother is 89.
Wow.
They still live alone in their house. I visited them like less than a month ago. And my mom is still cooking for me and doing the laundry for me at the age of 92. It's crazy.
I love it.
So, and why they are doing it? Because they are, I can give you an example. My father, during the commercial break that he watched TV, instead of going to the refrigerator and eat, he's going out and walking around. Okay?
That's it.
And my mom, at the age of 89, she's still doing Pilates twice a week.
Wow.
And she's going outside and walking, and she's cooking, and she's very careful in the food that they are eating. So I think, again, it might be a fluke, but it's a good example of how a person at the age of, let's say, around 90, a couple, it's not a person.
A couple, not even with just one of the two,
They live well, and they are basically, in a way, they're doing what I'm preaching people to do. Do the basic. Eat well, exercise. My mom doing Sudoku all the time, and make your
awesome.
brain work. That's the right way to do it.
Okay, so my question for you, Gil, is: are you learning from them, or they've learned from your work and everything you've done, and they started to implement that, or they were already like that before?
I think that it's a round trip in a way. My mom is a former nurse, so she always been very cautious about a lifestyle and nutrition and other, but I also help them. They're coming to me with a question. Like my mom came to me, 10 years ago and said, "Hey, Gil, your father want to drink a beer. Is it okay for him to drink a beer?" So I said, "Yeah, it's okay with him. Of course. But just it's better for him to drink it at lunch and not at dinner, because there is a lot of data that show that drinking alcohol at night compromises your sleep." So they're coming to me with what is the best for us to eat? And my father showing me all the supplements that he has. And so I'm supporting them, but I think that they've also been trained by doing the basic, eating well, exercising, sleeping well.
That's the basic. Yeah, that we need to inform. So here's the thing. What you tell your parents, how can we get it out in the crowd to everybody? Because it's super valuable. But how many people out there don't know that, like drinking a beer, for example, it's better to drink it at lunch and not at night? There is so much lack of information, and there is so much knowledge in the community, in the scientific community, in the longevity space. People like you are making this world better. How can we get all this information out there and tell them, listen, those are the tips. What can we do?
Yeah, I think that it's what you are doing or what I'm doing. We need to educate the population. So they need to listen to the right people and don't listen to the guru. Sure that it's science-backed data, and try and be curious. Like I can give you the example. The episode that I recorded about oral health happened because I had a challenge, and I said, okay, I want to understand why I'm spending, $5,000 a year on the dentist, but also I have so many problems. And I started to research, and I realized what I should do. And by the way, there are a lot of tips like that in the podcast that we recorded. When to brush the teeth, when to, as you said, use the oral liquid, when to eat or brush the teeth, what to have. So there are so many things that you can do, but you just need to know it. And know it, you need to educate yourself.
So we need to change the way that people are brainwashing themselves by watching Netflix. We need to take over on Netflix and put those information out there and make this world more intelligent, I guess. Yeah.
Instead of playing, a game of whatever, gamified your health and try to find, okay, this is my weakest point, and then learn about it and try to biohack it and make you the best that you can in this weakest point, and then find the second weakest point and try to make it better. And,
so we need, we need to initiate curiosity then. Like curiosity will lead to education. Yeah.
I can give you a few more examples.
Please. Yeah.
So at Insert Tracker, we incorporated and we are releasing very soon a report about 10 health span scores related to based on genetics.
Okay.
So for example, bone mineral density. Do you have high risk to have low bone mineral density or high potential to have high bone mineral density? Or looking at longevity. Do you have a high chance to live longer or a lower chance?
That's tricky, huh?
Higher risk of visceral fat or lower risk of visceral. Do you have a stronger grip strength or weaker?
That's a sign of longevity too. Yes, true.
So we have all of that, and I looked at my report and I found that my grip strength is in the 2% potential. Basically, I have a very low potential to have a strong grip strength. Okay. So I bought the magnometer, which is the machine that and I've seen, my grip strength is low. So what was my intervention? What Insert Tracker recommend me? Start working on the strength training.
That's it. Yeah, build muscle in the,
But it's not only that. It's also do a pull-up and...
be able to hang up yourself for a minute or two.
And deadlift, because it's just a marker of strength, basically. And I started to do it in the last couple of years. And I'm now much better. And also my grip strength is better, but also I'm stronger. And then if I will fall, and by the way, most of us are dying when we fall, break our hip, and then 7 months later we are gone. If you have more muscles, also you have a better balance, less chance that you will fall. But even if you will fall, your muscle cover your bones, so less chance that you... So that's a good example of how can you get the data. I got the data from Insert Tracker, a genetic test, and implement some intervention. Another example is I did the same genetic test, and I found that I have a high risk for high visceral fat. So I'm not...
you're skinny. You're not big.
I'm not skinny, but I'm not fat. But I have a high risk. So I went and did the DEXA scan, and really I found that I have not crazy, but a bit higher visceral fat. So now I'm trying to work on how can I...
That's the hardest one to get rid of.
It's very hard, But I'm trying, to decrease as much of my...
What do you do for that? Full plunge?
So you need basically to try to lose fat, and hopefully some of the fat in the body will... So... But it's hard because if you have a high tendency for visceral fat, it will be there. I'm trying also to do much more core exercise and shit like that. But when knowledge is power. So when I know what I should focus on. And so it's not only blood, it's not only DNA, it's a mix of, it's not only...
It's not even only inside, it's mainly the environment we are in, the light, the pollution, the air, and everything. So I
can provide another example. Sleep. Sleep is underrated, and people are, I have only 24 hours a day, so I need to watch another episode of Netflix, so I will go to sleep instead of...
That's ridiculous.
And then I need to go to a run, so I don't have time, instead of waking up at 6, I'll wake up at 5, okay? So we looked at our data. We have, as I said, hundreds of thousands of people. And we looked at the correlation between the amount of sleep that you sleep and the level of some markers. And I can give you some examples. You can see that the highest VO2 max, which is basically a marker of endurance,
and longevity in general,
very strong for longevity, is the highest VO2 max happen with the subpopulation that sleep between 7 to 9 hours, which is the optimal. Then you look at LDL cholesterol, the same, HDL cholesterol, the same, the best A1C, the marker of diabetes, marker of inflammation. So basically, if you look at that, when you sleep the right amount of time, you have a better chance to optimize your blood biomarkers. So don't go to sleep late just because you want to see an episode of Netflix. And don't wake up early just because you want to run. Run at 6 instead of 5 a.m. That's okay.
Exactly. Yeah, that's okay. For me, it doesn't apply because I don't watch TV. I don't even have TV. But I do agree on that. Sleep is the key for everything. Like people are fighting to lose weight or to lose fat. If you sleep well, you're not getting fat. If you eat well, of course.
You are less hungry and you feel better. So you don't have the urge to eat something because you feel good.
And your brain functions as well.
Yeah, the brain is function well, so you don't need the chocolate to make it run or the coffee. You don't need to drink coffee every 2 seconds. So again, we are going to the basic. It's not like biohacking. It's simple logic.
Yeah,
Sleep.
I agree. Yeah, I think that, this is the thing. Biohacking has a strength somewhere for testing. Like in laboratory, you do test, you do research. But for the common of the mortals, still mortals, maybe immortal one day, but for the common of the people out there, back to the basic, like you said, sleep, eat, move, do exercise, talk to people, because that's another factor of longevity. If you are alone and you don't talk and socialize, you don't live.
And I will add for that, floss your teeth every day.
Yes, it's true. I forgot that. That was a good one. Yeah, floss your teeth every day.
No, it's very important. It's very important.
You know what, Gil? It's interesting because I was on Instagram recently and I was scrolling down because Dr. Dom was coming to my podcast and I wanted to learn more about teeth and hygiene in the mouth. But I came up to a post where the guy, a big influencer, was saying, never brush your teeth. Is going against your gut microbiome. You're killing your mouth biome and things like that. And I was just like, okay, that now it's becoming completely nonsense. Yeah, that's
maybe
crazy.
Maybe it's the dentist that want to have more business.
Love it. That's, very
I
clever.
haven't seen any data that support that. That's the problem with Instagram. Take it carefully and don't believe every guru at Instagram. Yeah.
No, go back to the science, like you said. Dr. Gil Blender, you are awesome. I love your work. I love what you do. It's been years and I'm a big fan. Thank you for coming to my podcast. It was a blast for me to have you today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. Always great discussion together.